Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Good to talk to all of you again today. And whoa, a lot of things have happened recently. A lot of things have happened recently, and I haven't really talked about them because I'm just not around all that much these days. Unfortunately, school is school, and it is kicking my butt to a certain degree. So, yep, most of my perspective is from the sidelines, although I did manage to get in a couple games today. This Vermont game is actually my first game, I think, about 2 months. But that doesn't mean I haven't been keeping track of what's been going on and the comings and goings of things that have happened in ships. So I guess let's start off with the captain's skill rework. And yeah, not a very good rework to say the least. In particular, of course, there's all the controversy about Deadeye and things like that. But, once again, I think, with the whole captain's skill rework, I think a lot of people are missing the bigger picture. And I think Wargaming is missing the bigger picture as well. And mind you, they missed the big picture a lot. All we have to do is sort of go back a little bit in history and talk about the CV rework. Now, just kind of give you all the story. Back in 2017, late 2017 was the first time I heard, hey, look, we're going to rework the whole carrier thing. And this was at the Let's Battle tour at the USS Lexington down at Corpus Christi. And and I was the person who was relatively well known for carriers back in the day. So, we had this conversation and kind of, what's your thoughts on this proposed CV rework? So, I heard the thing and I was like, okay, so you guys want to make it a little bit more action-packed. I can understand that. You want to make it so that there's a little bit more commonality between things. Okay, that I understand. Okay, it sounds reasonable. What's the counterplay? And so, I was kind of given a brief explanation of this whole, flak system and everything. And I'm like, so you're telling me it's all going to be like fully automated, just like the AA system of back in the day? Yeah, we're kind of sticking to that system. So you're telling me that it's just going to be the same sort of press a button? Yes. Oh, well, I can see problems there, right? Because, it wasn't much fun back in the day where you were dependent on pressing a button or doing only one thing, control clicking back in the day. I'm not so sure that that's going to be a good idea. I think people are going to get really, really annoyed when they come under attack and they can't really defend themselves. No, it'll be fine. Well, most of us of 2021, we're aware what the consequences of those decisions are, right? CVs are still terrible and they're still problematic. And to a lesser degree, the same lack of foresight is sort of readily apparent with the way that the commander rework thing, the captain skill rework happened. If you look at it, it's like, okay, we have a short-term goal. We gotta accomplish this rework. We gotta have something new and shiny to present. But what about the longer-term issues? And it's like, what long-term issues, right? But for those of us who play the game and who have good knowledge about the game, it becomes quite obvious. So let's just take, for example, look at the captain skills for a carrier. Yeah, synergy is great. Carriers are able to pick skills that are relevant to them. And it works. Why? Because carriers are reasonably similar to each other. Your ship launches aircraft. Your aircraft attack with 3 weapon types, right? There's fighters you can summon, and it's all pretty much the same thing. Sure, there's differences in individual capabilities. Torpedoes have different damages. Bombs have different damages. Whatever. End of the day, the gameplay style, the role, whatever, all very similar. Then we move on to battleships. And battleships, well, yes, there are different playstyles, secondary builds, and whatnot. But battleships, in terms of the ships themselves, characteristic-wise, they're again kind of similar. Large caliber guns, have good armor, similar-ish, right? And so once again, you look at the captain's skills and you go, yeah, that makes good sense. There's reasonable synergy there. But take a look at the cruisers. Take a look at cruisers for a second and you'll quickly notice something. Cruiser skills are kind of all over the place. And there's a very good reason why. Imagine you're a developer and you're told, okay, you've got to make skills to cover one class. Well, battleships are easy. Carriers, easy. Cruisers? You've got cruisers that have gun armament from destroyer caliber guns in Smolensk, Atlanta, all the way up to like light battleship caliber guns with Alaska and Stalingrad. And so how do you create skills that, cater to all those different styles of play? You almost can't, because there's such a sort of variation to the ships themselves in terms of base capabilities, that there's not really a good way to say, okay, we're gonna have these skills that, work for everything and will work well with everything. It just doesn't really work that way, unfortunately, just because of the variability within the base ships themselves. So that sort of begins to highlight one of the future problems as cruisers become ever more diversified, especially if you think of something like Tone that is, going to be a hybrid CV cruiser. There's not a single skill there that applies to the airplanes for the Tone. It's all just cruiser skills. But does Wargaming seem like they recognize this issue? And my answer is, I don't particularly think so. Because they don't always have the greatest amount of foresight to see, oh, you know what? We're going to have a new playstyle coming out soon. We better make sure that, whatever we're designing today, 3, 4, 5 months before the release of that, will allow people to quickly adapt to something that's coming. I don't think that's happened for Wargaming in terms of being able to kind of foresee that. And yet, it should be readily apparent that if you had the roadmap and you know the timelines, that you would prepare for this kind of thing. In terms of where I think the captain skill system should go in the future, I mean, I'd almost want to see something where you have sort of universal skills, like all over, right? And again, this is just a hypothetical idea, but you have nothing that's tied to a class. You have access to essentially all the skills, although again, what the value of those skills and how you balance those skills is going to be a question for another time. But then what you essentially can do is you can essentially have, I'm trying to have you guys visualize this. You almost have like a skill selector system, right? You have, let's say, 30 points that you can spend, and you're able to drag in useful skills from different categories that would suit your particular ship. So let's say if you're playing a Stalingrad, you'd really want to have fire prevention. Well, that's a battleship skill, right? The ability to say, okay, I'll borrow a battleship skill, but then also have the cruiser skills will allow you to kind of create more synergistic builds, I guess, for all the different types of ships. Just a thought. I mean, at least that will allow you in the future, if you are going to go with something brand new, like let's say the hybrids or whatever, that you'd be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to borrow a CV skill here or there, to have these aircraft do a little bit better, right? And so it's not just you're a cruiser, you're stuck with only cruiser skills. And too bad if you've got airplanes, right? I mean, I don't know, some foresight would be nice. Unfortunately, I think at times with Wargaming especially is that and I'm not being negative about them, by the way. It's just that I think some people there have been there for a very long time, and I think some people are very attached to their vision of the game, and they're not too keen when people point out that their vision for the game isn't actually the best. I think they're very attached to it. Like, it's almost like CV Rework, right? I mean, they spend all that time, all that money, and I think some people are very attached to their ideas of how CV Rework should play and look and whatever. And, if you kind of point out that that's not the best thing, they don't take too kindly to it. And that, by the way, is more of a culture problem, right? And that's not an easy thing to fix straight up. If you want to fix a company or a corporate culture problem, I mean, you're talking big changes, and I don't think that's likely to happen. So here we are, 2021, and the relationship between CCs and Wargaming is challenging. I think that's a good word, challenging. I don't think of that relationship as being super productive in the let's make the game better kind of thing. I think now it's just very commercial. It's a very commercial relationship. So you promote X, we give you Y, you have good metric X, which means there's X or Y engagement, and therefore, we benefit, you benefit from us sort of helping you with things. Great. And that's kind of, I think, where it is right now. A lot of the older ways, sort of the way things were done a long time ago, has kind of gone. I don't really see it anymore. There used to be this ability to really talk about things, really kind of to work on things. I think that's mostly like not there anymore. And even the CC program itself has become more just anybody who streams, who hits a certain metric, cool. you know, as long as you don't break code of conduct, we'll bring you in. You know, so it's not. Yeah, I just don't think it's really what it used to be. Being honest, there. Today, if you're just a CC, you're just, I don't know, you're just streamer guy, streamer girl, trying to make it on Twitch kind of thing, and you want to just stream this game because you get eyeballs on your channel. That's like, I think that's the reality of where things are right now. It is right now with the whole thing. I mean, you know, you kind of have to talk about as well. I mean, especially how recent this is, like Flamu getting kicked from the CC program. That's again one of those things where, you know, yes, Wargaming had good reasons for it. Yes, that relationship has been difficult for a while, and yes, I think it was an inevitable thing to have happened. But like the timing, it's like, you know, name a more iconic duo, Wargaming and proper timing for things. Actually, you know what, Wargaming and Balance might be another more iconic duo. If you have a good iconic duo thing, put it in the comment section, by the way. Kind of want to hear it. Anyways, so yeah, the timing was awful, really. And that also brings up the other question, which is, if you're going to kick them for the reasons that they laid out, you know, being toxic and stat shaming, like, why didn't you kick them 2 years ago? What was the delay? What was it? Like, you know, does Wargaming only kind of do things at like super delayed kind of ways? Kind of reminds me of like a bad Pokemon description for Slowpoke, you know? You hurt the thing and it only realizes there's pain like 5 minutes later. But like, seriously, what's with that horrible delay? If you're gonna just axe the guy 2 years ago when the issue first popped up. Nope. So, yeah, that leads people down pathways and conclusions that they're gonna reach, which is like, no, it's just that they don't like, you know, the criticism. To which I'm going to say, in a half-joking, half-serious kind of manner, it's not so much that they don't like or dislike the criticism, it's that they're not really listening to much of the criticism at all. It's the not listening part that I think is the issue. Or if they do listen, it's usually quickly, you know, out comes the spreadsheet, the almighty, one-of-a-kind spreadsheet, where if the data shows that whatever you say is not fitting the data, then you must be wrong, even though, again, you know, data doesn't show everything. It's the reason why, you know, you have subjective testers, you know, who can also give you an opinion, especially the more experienced ones who give you good opinions about things. Then you should be, you know, really taking that into consideration. Alas, you know, Wargaming is not really doing that. Now, like I said, the relationship between CCs and Wargaming have gone from this mutually cooperative, let's make this the best game possible type of thing, to, right, you're just an extended marketing arm that we get a ton of advertising for, you know, some codes and stuff like that, you know, like, you know, so it's basically where things are right now. You know, it's a very commercial type of relationship. Not that I'm saying that it shouldn't be. I mean, of course, you know, it is a business kind of partnership to a certain degree, but it's just far more so today, I think. You know, the business relationship now is much more in that direction, where a long time ago, I think it used to be better. I think it's the, you know, it used to be a more productive, hey, let's all work together kind of thing. You know, if I remember going all the way back to like the early days, you know, the purpose of the CC was to be the bridge, as it was described back in the day, between the community as a whole and Wargaming as a company, you know, and the bridge is supposed to go two ways. Where today, boy, that feels like a super highway bridge, but it only goes in one direction. And it's not a good thing, I don't think. I mean, you know, I wonder when they're really gonna sit down, have some deep introspection about things that they've done to try to see where improvements can be made, where they can improve that relationship, you know, and that's not just to the CCs, but like also to the large community, right? Because that's what you want, a good, healthy player population that's with you for the long haul. And a game like this, with the quality in a lot of things, for example, like the art or whatever, I mean, really should have that staying power. I mean, why do things to, you know, drive people away? You actually even see that with like the newer CCs as well. And then just this on a side note is like, listen to them, before they become a CC, the day they become a CC, like they're super excited, and then go listen to them like a month or so later. Like a lot of them, they catch on quick that, things are not the way that they think it was, right? And so, hope that, I am able to clarify some stuff for all of you, maybe kind of give you a sense of how things are going and how things are. And also maybe like where the frustration is coming from as well, because I think that's another thing as well. Like even I notice it when I play the game is, if I'm streaming it and having to do it sort of frequently all the time, that I get really fed up with the game. Like today I was able to play 4 games and it was purely casual. Well, it's okay. Who cares how things went? But if this was like, you're doing this like 5-6 hours a day, every day, 5 days a week, like, and then on top of that, you have all that other issues. I can definitely understand where the negativity will come from, right? It's not all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns all the time, when you're dealing with that kind of environment, right? I mean, you will get frustrated when you can clearly see the gameplay issues, and no matter what you say, it's always like the data doesn't back you up, like imagine you heard that, and you're watching something head towards that inevitable cliff, right? Again, that lack of foresight that I was talking about seems to be a thing. Like, wargaming isn't great on that department, right? Like, foresight and wargaming, like, there's another iconic duo, I guess. So, I guess that's it. Let me know what you all think. This game, like I said, it was not the world's best game. Actually, did I say that? I'm getting old. I can't remember. This wasn't the best game. This was my first one in like a couple months. Not a single Citadel. I mean, I couldn't aim to save my life. But hey, it was still a win. Still got good experience and still did good damage. Still was like top of the team or whatnot. So I guess that's a positive nonetheless. And that's really it. Just like share your thoughts, share your opinions in the comment section below. And aside from all that, make sure to keep yourselves safe. I know the world's kind of still a crazy place out there, so stay safe, stay happy. That's really, really important. Take time for yourselves. I mean, especially with situations with lockdowns and stuff like that. Be safe, be well, and talk to all of you again next time.